I am Ivoryka, and this is my counterpart, my hubby, Colin, and this is part 2 of Yielding or Healing in Marriage, part 2 of story time. Yes, so in part 1, we spoke about how we met and we went a little bit into it, and so we are back to continue with that aspect of our story to tell you about the crashed wedding and also to just share with you on our journey through marriage, which may not come out in this particular video, but the aim is to really share our journey in marriage and the fact that yielding in marriage is also one of the things that you have to do because you want your peace of mind, your freedom, and because time's short and life is uncertain, and we want to live pleasing God. So we are doing this just to share, and give ideas as to how we in our not perfect marriage, because no marriage not perfect, and don't let nobody fool you. The most loving couples have their teeth and tongue meeting, and them time when you don't want to see him, and the time when him don't want to see me. Yes, really. Are you saying that there aren't times when you just wish say, "Chop me can't but I know," and whatever? I've certainly had my moments when I say, "Jeez and peace, I just want to pack up and just run, we go somewhere for a while and just make him not even know where I am." You never think that?
No. Why should I?
Well, confession, I felt that way. I mean, a lot of wives feel that way, not because our husbands are not unique and good to us and not that we don't love them, but when I get talking, when I get trouble, when I get enough stress.
You want to have your own way.
All of that too, sometimes we want to have our own way, yes, but most of the times it's because of the stress and the talking, the bag of talking where uno man give. Lord Jesus, uno never listen. All when they sitting a pop down in front of uno and we are trying to catch it up and I say, do it that way, uno just talk ego and decide to so me I do it, and then when it pop down now, we know are left to pick up the pieces and to start over again, and that not pretty. It's not nice when we as the wives carrying a lot of burdens and keeping the homes, and then now we have to turn around and pick up phone a problem. Well, we did that already, go to the solution to the problem, but because we don't want to hear it, and then now we end up in a problem, we end up in a banger. So yeah, there were times when me did just want to go about my business, but God saved this marriage sometimes because me think I don't have no family in Jamaica really, but me can just run we go. Like you have your mother, you can't just pack up your things and go your mother for one week, and then you just move and go your sister for 1 week, and you just say, alright, you just take a 2-3 week and you visit the family. I'm not so privileged because my family, all of them are overseas, so I'm stuck with him. Nevertheless, our marriage has been wonderful. We have had our differences, whole heap of differences. We quarrel, we not fight physically. We have never fought physically. But one of the things that I remember after we got married and when we went on our honeymoon, we honeymooned at a place in Ocherius, no longer exists, in the form of a hotel. Probably the hotel is still there, but certainly not a hotel. We honeymooned at Falcon Crest Hotel, and when we went the Saturday night, I remember him falling on the floor, and he said, "Come, let us pray." And he committed the marriage to the Lord. Well, we committed the marriage to the Lord. I remember you saying, "Lord, we believe that this is your perfect will. And all of this, believing that it was your perfect will, and all of that, we did have to state it out there to the Lord because of the trauma that we just came through. So you said, Lord,
I believe it's your will, but even if it's not your will and your permissive will, we just gonna let it work.
nah, you said we believe that it's your perfect will, but if it is not, we are asking that you let it be your permissive will.
Okay.
Right. And so right in that hotel room, we vowed that whatever came at us in our marriage, we would stick together, we would fight and work it out, we would work hard and ensure that our marriage worked. And what was one of the reasons why we had to do that, babes? Do you remember? The whole heap of backlash that we got.
Okay, there were a lot of saying that she should not have married to me, and different saying and different
and I never God will
because of the situation
what had happened. Yes,
that had take place before.
Right. So people that say I never God will, because if I did God will, that never got. And then also the so-called myth or doom and gloom as to, because remember we initially had planned to get married June 11th. And then we had a clash with another couple, so we moved it forward to May 28th, which was the doomsday, that day that we hated. For the first few years of our marriage, we hated that, detested that day. And then eventually we got married 6 weeks later on the
16th of
July. So that was 3 wedding dates. And of course, popularity tells you that, boy, no sir, that the marriage is doomed from its start. And actually there was a time when we had to put on our clothes and dress up and didn't go to our church that day, but went to a particular church because store did a pop at the church. Now shortly after we got married, we moved to Clarendon to live. We lived in Maypen and was doing a little business down there. And we got information. People saw him and say, me hear say your wedding mash, your marriage mash up. Me hear say your wife left, and they say, what you talking about? Yeah man, me hear it at church say, oh no, not together and blah 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 blah. And when he came home and told me, I said, guess what? We're going to church that Sunday. I was naughty. And we went to this said church, and people like, because yes, they had heard say we were no longer together, and we dressed up and showed up. Guys, remember to give this video a thumbs up. Please share with somebody, like, and if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do so now. So our story time continues now. So we left off where we were friends. Yeah, we were always friends, and I took him then as, you know, my best friend, because this was the person that I go through my little struggles, just my first year in Christianity, and whole heap of things I didn't know. And as you would have heard in the previous video, I was hung up on doctrine and how Christians should look and all of that. And so he took onto me this role model figure where he ensured that I not just quote scripture or just can say the Bible said this and the Bible said that, but to actually know the meaning of the word. So you were strong on, but what is the context? What is the what was meant by that? And started to encourage me
to go to Bible school.
Yes, which I didn't then, because I never even thought that I needed to. But I said, why would I be going to Bible school? Like, because when we got married, we were just brother and sister. We had no idea that we were going to be in ministry. We had no idea.
Yeah, but the reason why I really invite you to go to Bible school is that the doctrine, I found out that there are some doctrine that's not quote unquote with the Bible, or the scripture, or we interpret it was not correct. So I believe that if you go somewhere that is neutral, then you will be able to get a better understanding of the scripture. Believing then that, okay, you will be my future wife. So I believe that this part first must straighten out, because I know how it can be when you have religious hang-ups in your life. It can be very,
Yes.
very serious, and it can mess up marriage too.
Yeah. 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 So one of the things that was one of the things that kept me drawn to him, because of his stance in the Lord, is all. So he was like a father figure to me then, because he would ensure that I was okay. Spiritually, I was growing. So he would, why this a man I could have pray. Still can't pray, but may I tell you. So in our courtship, so eventually guys, we move from dating to courtship. And then now, just as we started to say, all right, let's see how this can work. So we started courting now. In our courtship, we laid out everything on the table. We talked about
Everything, just about everything.
every
In fact, there are some things that, you know, normal couple would go through in the tent, but we discuss it and we have that understanding that they were not much for what I must say,
for the counselor
for the counselor to do. We quite understand what we were about.
But I needed understand. I made a little bit me though. I needed more.
Well, baby, they trust me, because one of the reason I knew what I want and I pointed it out. And what happened too, I went to many persons who I knew got married for some times, and to me, living a perfect life, a perfect married life. So I asked them question and never really get an answer, because I remember this guy who was a really preacher, fireball preacher. And you know, I know he was married, but I never know he had problem in his marriage, because of, you know, how he used to minister and things like that. So I went to him and asked him for some pointers where marriage is concerned, where courtship is concerned. And he said, boy, and you know, he asked me what is what, and I point out to him what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And him said, no man, you have it locked, because I mean, if I did have all this thing as how you have it, I would not mess up. I would not in the mess that I am in today. And I said, wow. You know, but I trust God. I prayed. You know, I must tell you that not much people give me advice. I look on other couples, see how they live, and wanted to live a different way. Want to live godly. I wanted to have a perfect marriage, even though there were none. There is none.
There is none, but at least you go into marriage, and as I said, with this in the back of your mind, say, no care what. And it's not that you're preparing yourselves to take anything, because I'm not going to settle, and my husband knows that I'm not settling for certain things. And so we had that discussion from the onset, that because I saw my grandparents, they were my role models. I saw how they lived, you know, as a married couple. I saw as a child growing up, I saw other marriages but never looked too right. And then I saw the ones that were blooming and blossoming and looked nice. And me, they always want married. So my daddy lived a sort of gypsy life, where him come here so and him stay for a little while and then pull up and him gone and all over the place. And I told myself, me nah live so. Me nah want up and down and live here so physical. And then he was dragging me along with him, so I detested it because one more we lived in. So after he took me from my grandparents, after my grandmother died, we moved to Negril, and we lived in Negril for a few months, and then we moved to Montego Bay, and we lived in this particular location. Then we move again, and mighty God, me say, and then because I knew how he was just moving all over the place, so from an early age, 18-year-old, yes, me ready for marriage. Seriously, at 18, I was ready to marry, because I wanted to just push down stake and just be have stability, right? I wanted stability. And because I got saved young, so of course my one married, coming to intend to come back out of the church, so I wanted to be married. So we started our courtship now, and then we talk about everything, as we say. every single thing we would say like, so what if I come home from work? This me. I come home from work. No, what if you reach home from work before me? What are you going to do? And him say, start dinner. And we talk about washing. We talk about everything. So we entered marriage with no particular role for say, all right, yeah, woman, are you for do that? Yeah, man, are you for do that? We just did everything. So he would wash, he would iron. As a matter of fact, me never did know how to iron too well. Him teach me how to iron some things. Why did he teach me to iron?
Everything.
No, I never everything. But you taught me to iron pants. Me did that try, and then well I could iron, but didn't know how to do it in the professional way. So one day, taking pants and me I iron it, and himself I watch me I iron him pants, you know. And then he came and he said, you know, if you do it this way, it's easy. Remember? Because me used to put out everything on the iron board and then throw over 1 foot there. So and you come and say no. And you take the pants and you start it, so do it, and always showed me it was indeed easier. So what used to happen is that when me don't press the pants, it crush up. So I have to put it back and press it again. So he showed me how to just do one pressing, and that was it, and it was perfect.
Okay, well, pressing is something that I always like, and
To date.
I used to press for my tailor friends. You know, bring me clothes, what they sew it, me press for them. It's quit. You know, so pressing is something that I love. Washing also, I love to wash white. I love to do that. You understand? I love to do those things. And cooking also, I love to do a part cooking.
Yeah, so to date, he does most of the pressing. Most of the ironing is done by him. I don't even know how some of my clothes him iron, because he loves ironing. And so if he's home from work, because of his job, sometimes he's at home for maybe a week or so, he would say to me, take out all of your clothes and where you want for go work, and leave them. And I leave them out and impress. And when me leave, if me leave out 5 suits, when I come 10-15 suits press, because him just
at least it come with a cost though.
Yeah, and then him tax me and tell me what I have to pay. And of course it's not money. Anyway, you see how we jump gone far and I tell the people them about what, and that them want to hear know what people want to hear. So guys, talk now about you tell them about what happened with the breakup.
Okay, you know.
So we started courting, and yes.
Yeah. Then my pastor used to said something. Of course, I respect my pastor 100%, and she used to say something when she found out that I was having a relationship, and you know, she thought it was an unsafe person. So she said something like it's not going anywhere and all of that. So I was kind of feel uncomfortable in a sense, and I might share it with her, with my wife, and she was kind of uncomfortable. So the things start just a little bit shaky. But then again, she decided one day that, okay, it's over. Please don't call again. And
yeah, because I stopped. So I stopped visiting. So I go back over in workplace at all. We stopped having lunch, or I just distance myself.
Right.
And
so
you used to call at work.
So right. I used to call, and I remember in one particular day I come over. And after I come over, that's the time she told me that don't call back, I don't come back. You understand, you know. So I leave, and you know, it was really a very, very sad time for me, because I felt as if something left me, something missing now from my life. But being the person I was, I live with it for some times. And it continued for about 6 months, you know, no connection, no contact, nothing at all. And I remember, prior to that though, I remember I came to Kingston one day, come for a cricket match from a friend to play some cricket one. I think it was one sports day the church was having. And I rode a bicycle, so I stopped by Sister Burnett, and Sister Burnett asked me, Colin, you married it? And I said, no man, how can I marry than the woman that I love gone?
And
so you know, we continue. So far sometimes, you know, we don't see each other, we don't hear from each other and things like that. So one day I remember I was going to Bishop Edward's church. Sometimes our church was going there. They had some program, and you know, my church, I had a boys group then, and that boys group was to sing. So I went there. But while we were going there, you know, two friends, very close friends of mine, Carl and Peter, and you know, we were talking, and they begin to mock me. They call him on to that chick there, that black chick there. We usually wear them bra that day. And I remember Peter said clearly that boy, him couldn't afford those bra that, so he have to let her go. You know, so you know, but I was saying, man, we good man. But deep down inside of me, I knew something was missing. You understand? And I tried to tough it out because, you know, man thing. You know, so, but as I draw closer to the church, I remember definitely I saw Pastor Burnett van. And I was looking on the van, and
that was my former pastor,
right?
Now deceased.
And I said, "Whoa!" You know. So as I go in, I begin to look. So as I went in, I saw her, and you know, I just move over and just sit right beside her. And to be honest, that was a service for me by speaking to her. And I think she was the secretary for our youth group. She was making notes, and me just attack, and she said, "Wait now," and me just attack. I mean, you know, you find the missing part of you, you know. So me just attack, and she did it, and me just attack, and she tried to stop me, but I just could not. You understand? Because I
shut out my ears. I mean, I was like, because we had gone over, Pastor Burnett carried, because the Burnetts were my second parents, and so he was the youth president, so he took the youth department over there. I think it was either Charles or Mark who was going to preach that. I don't remember which one, but me not hear nothing because the money in my ears. And now he's not the person who would be doing that, you know. He would be the one to say, listen the word. The man a chat off my ears, me not hear nothing. That's me only know say, whichever preacher it was, me know say it was a preach because of the response of the congregation, but me not hear 3/4 message because the man in my ears.
Yeah, and I remember now when I finished speak, maybe she couldn't take it no more. She said, "Okay, give me a call." Then I said, "Almost I call you, I don't have no number for you." And that's when you gave me Sister Burnett no bad, give me the time when I should call.
Yeah, because I was practically living there, right?
So that's where
and then we used to set up at night.
Right. So, you know, we never have any phone.
A cell phone.
Right. And, you know, in the community that I was then, in Spanish Town, there were no house phone at all. It was call box. So, you know, I would go to the call box like 11:15, and everybody know that 11 o'clock. Because we used to get some free time. Some after you use certain amount of call, you get some free time after 11. So until they were where we could breach the call box, we know that. So
there's a thief call
every night I would go there, and you know, those who are around know that after 11, you know, they would just leave the call box for me. And it was a big call box, so I go up inside of it and sit down. And for hours we will talk
until work tomorrow 1 o'clock.
Yeah. 1 o'clock until you know that continue. But one of the sweetest part in those calls, I remember after not seeing her for quite some time, I said to you, when can I come check you? And I hear that rough voice say, when you want to come check me?
Yeah, because Pastor Bernard, I think he probably was, I don't know what he came downstairs for. And I was on the phone. And he said, I call him that. And I said, yes, I didn't take the phone and even listen. What you did do?
I begin to laugh. And, yeah, that little conversation. But it was all good from then. Then, you know, I recognized that this is the woman really that is the missing ring.
And people, this man, the man married to me over the plan my wedding, start plan our wedding over the phone. He not proposed to me, you know, people. He did not propose like, you know, the formal. So I did not get a formal. I don't know what it is like. You know, you need to propose to me on one. Oh,
Would you marry me again?
yes.
Okay, that's why.
But that's not. No, yeah, that's a question. That's not a proposal. People, tell me what you think. Doesn't he need to propose? Anything them tell me that my brother. Him not propose. So him say, one of the time when I talk on the phone, and Mr. Gentleman start plan wedding, and I say, boy, him not on a long waiting because him know say him find him wife and blah 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 blah, and so wedding start. And then he took me now to his pastor, bought ring, took me to his pastor, and we were officially engaged. But before we were engaged, I remember him invited me to his church, and he prayed and said,
Okay, I wanted to know for sure if this is the person, so I asked God for a few signs. You know, one, I asked God, the first one, that if it is your will for me to marry this girl, let you come to church, and when she come to my church, let my pastor love her. One. The second is that I pray, every female that I was acquainted to, I write their name, put it in my Bible, and also put a blank paper in my Bible, and I shuffle the papers, and I say, Lord, whichever name come out, this is what I'm going to work with. And if the blank one come, I know that I must not marry. So, you know, I lock it up and pray by faith.
Must not marry or not married to any of those?
Not married to any of those. So what really happened, her name come out. So, you know, that was to me a sign again. You understand? And I also said, Lord, when she come to church, let somebody introduce her, not me. And all these happen. You know, so I think it was more than confirmation to me. And more or less, not only that, the feeling that I have that second piece, that which was missing in this art, have been found.
Full of chatty. Right, so when I came, I remember his sister took me. No, but before that, while service, because I came late. I was late. So while service was going on, I think immediately as his pastor finished preaching, she stood up and said, wow, that dark girl in that pretty hat, because it had one nice white fancy, me did love hats, fancy hats. And she said, that girl in that pretty, remember she mentioned, like she was saying, she created one piece of excitement about the hat. What a fabulous hat, blah, 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 blah. Because his church, they didn't really wear hats. They wore what they call chapel cap. So I stood out in the people in church in my brother. So she was, you know, really fascinated. And she called me and she said, as I see you, I love you. Come here, let me pray for you. I didn't know that, you know, him and God did have them conversation there. So that happened. And then after church, his sister took me around and introduced me as, this is my brother's wife to be, and all of that. And then eventually, he introduced me to his pastor as, you know, and she took us into the office and she said, brother calling, because she was an English proper she said, brother calling. From the minute I laid my eyes on her, I just fell in love with her. And she asked my name, and I said, Breakup. She said, Breakup. Wow, you have a strange name. Right, and then so she set up appointment. Well, we got engaged. And I think, yes, because she said we had to come in for counseling, and so I didn't even know that I was going to be engaged, because my church at the time did not do engagements. So he engaged me, and then we started counseling. And then now when I went to my pastor, and you know, we both went to my pastor at the time, and we sat and talked, and then we gave the date. And that was when now we realized after that there was a clash. And so we moved it up to the 28th of May. And then that was the day now when we know. So we were so favored, because our wedding cost us nothing. When we started planning to get married, all we thought about were things that we needed for our own.
Yeah, because what really happened, I had some very good friend, and I remember I was working on a construction site at the time, and the guy who was my foreman then, he said, look here, he called me one day and said, you see that goat there? Are your one? You understand me? And he just said, tell me when are the wedding date. And one day he just called me and said, carry a rope, come catch your goat. Do that. I have a friend also who was working with some company. He said I respond to all the wine and all the liquor and all the drinks, you know. And there were all type of liquor, because there were some friends who were construction worker to come. So we had a lot of
and then
things.
Sister Burnett, she sat me down and said, okay, how many persons? Now back in our days, you know have no wedding, no invitation, so to speak. I will announce Sister so and so and brother so and so is getting married, and the church is invited. So the church are come at your wedding. So when we sat down, we looked at the church, his church, my church, your, and everybody from your church. No, you had to do invitation, right? Because Film Church did. We couldn't invite everybody. So my church was smaller, so everybody could come, and then no invitations for his church, and then family. So when we sat down, we had like about. We had 100 and add, so we said, all right, we're going to just cater for 200. So somebody bought rice, somebody bought this, somebody bought. The only thing we paid for was the ingredients. We bought the things to make the cake. Somebody sponsored to make the cake. So we bought the ingredients, and we paid. We had to pay the person who was doing the icing for the cake. We got 11 cakes that none of us ate a slice of. We had the feeding part. Me give a cake. Me carry the cake, them go my mother, and me just wanna eat it. Cause it was, we had 11 cakes, and then when we eventually had the wedding, we didn't, because we couldn't invite everybody again. Now this time, because Uda got help we cater already again after people don't give him money and it mash up. Because when we found out, so I was home now about to get ready, and then they told us that the only thing that I had to buy was oil. They told us we forgot about oil, so I had to go and buy the oil. So my aunt and I went and got the oil, and then I remembered say, I don't buy no stocking for myself, no stocking for the bridesmaids. So my auntie said, come, all right, we're going to get the stockings and come back. And then that was it. We're not going back on the road. We're done. Just like a rest off and get ready. So it was about, I think it was 2 o'clock or 2:30 thereabout. And about 1 o'clock, I am there. And I saw, no, it was earlier than that. It was earlier than that. I saw him come. And somebody say, Colin, come.
Mr. Maguire.
No, I never Mr. Maguire. Was it Dennis?
No, my pastor Maguire.
Okay. So he came now to Eman, a pastor, his pastor friend came. And everybody said, Colin, come. So they must say, you're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be. My mother and whomever say, you're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to see the bride and blah, blah, blah. And they must say, no, him have to talk to me. Was it me first you told her, my aunt?
I don't remember.
And then no, I think you called me. We went into my mother's room, and you told me what happened, and I was like, what you say? Pastor say, we must, what is it? The wedding is doomed for witchcraft, something about witchcraft, and we're not to have the wedding. Well, how it came, how we understood it, that we're not to have the wedding because the wedding is doomed for witchcraft. So of course, me ball out now and call my family, and whether they try log ahead, my auntie take the phone. So we called her, and then my aunt took the phone, and my aunt talked to her and said, "What you mean?" And she did it, and she had to tell her whatever. My auntie upon me, see my auntie face I get red. Someone else said, "I know nothing good." And my aunt come off of the phone, ended the call and just not saying anything. And I know my aunt, when she not say nothing, is because she mad. But when she's really upset, she don't talk. So she went one side and her face red. I mean, she has high complexion and her face turned red. And my mother and everybody, my mother asked me what now. Me can't answer because me don't know what happened, really. I'm just listening, and I said to them, say we not forget married because the wedding doom is prone for witchcraft. That was the exact word, prone for witchcraft. So by the time now we started that was when Dennis came. Dennis drove up shortly
No, it was Dennis drop out, Mr. McGregor.
Because me know say I did Dennis.
Right. Dennis drop us.
And then Mr. McGregor came and said, "What on earth is happening?" And whatever. And by then time I run, and then I called, Baker was at the house. That was the photographer who was my best friend at the time. And he was supposed to, because when the bride is getting married, the photographer normally come to do snaps and whatever. So he came to, it wasn't even his time to come, him come extra early and just to check on things. And then him come here, the mayhem. And everybody did they tear out them here. Then he know, by the time we concluded that, all right, we're going to have to cancel the wedding. So he jumped on his bicycle, or I think he was probably riding a bike at this time, and rode down to church. By then, church half with my brethren. And when them here, everybody nobody want ask him no question. Everybody just pack up and head to the yard. So by the time you turn around, my yard full of church people. My pastor was on the phone and said, "What is happening?" I think he probably had called her, and I don't know what she told him. And my pastor said, "Listen to me, the wedding has to go on. We're going to get our next person." Pastor went on his phone and he made arrangement with got a pastor. My husband, which I can understand, him the pan. So I'm saying to him, "But we can do the wedding." Him the pan. No answer. Shocked like him. But his response was that him not go forward with it because he's not clear on what his pastor is saying. And then my Burnett, no, who was not my pastor at the time, he got mad. "Colin, what do you mean say that? No? You're not married." And Brother Bert was, he was the pastor at the time. He said, "Brother Bernard, Serby," you used to call him Serby, me can't make no move, me no know. Me can't. And he say, "You don't deserve her. You don't deserve her then." Yeah. And then the church people come, them with that killing.
That was one of the toughest and the hardest time to me.
God.
Because I mean, I alone was there.
Nobody in your car.
Nobody.
Nobody.
And it was in that same situation Mr. Maguire came. Because what happened
and just took us. That was like a savior,
Yeah.
Because he came in right in the midst, and then so some of the people them did upset with me now because
right.
Because they saw it, you not make no decision because of what your pastor said if you married to me, and yet me jump in a vehicle. Because but I had to go because I wasn't talking, I was numb. And I was numbed for days after. Numb. I felt nothing. I couldn't cry. All I was trying to do was, just trying to process what was really happening. So me not feel nothing. Because me just numb, me not think. And then, so when Pastor McGregor came, that was like a savior. So he just came and he said, "Come." And we just gone with him. And then the church people was saying, "She gone, because she gone." He
saved the day because you know a lot of things was said very hurtful to
Yes,
me
ma'am.
about me, very very hurtful, and but I was very 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 calm because when I look around and I
Jesus,
saw
please.
everybody,
When I
and
time, I think so. Sir B did I got thump, you know. Me
Yeah,
literally see him doubling fist.
I think
Rest
Serby,
in peace,
Serby,
Pastor Bernard. Me
Serby.
literally see Pastor Bernard come so, and he was a boxer.
he overdo it.
Like
When-
say,
when I-
like say, you know, say, you think say, me soft?
When I said he overdo it. I remember his son sent a suit from overseas for him and the shoes, and for both from the wedding start plan.
We
He
not
clean
clean it
he
every
shine
day.
the shoes
It's like this year we are coming
every
your wedding.
day. Every day him come because that my wife was at his house. Then he said, "Look at this, me we come at your wedding now." And every day him shine the shoes and talk about it. And you know when he came, he was using up that and said, "Look here, every day
Yeah,
me clean the shoes and it not happen." And you know one of the things that really get to me now, he take off some of the champagne because my friend did buy me actually 6 Backlash champagne and come, "Antoinette, you sell this?"
Me not remember that.
Yeah, and he just got you. And it was really tough. But what the most embarrassing part to me and the most concerning was that I was meeting her aunt Susan for the very first time, and also
I'm
her
a grandfather
for the
who was
very
my
first
giveaway
time.
father.
And her grandfather was he was sick with his foot, and he came all the way just to give her away. And it was very disappointed.
That was a grandfather who raised me, of course,
Right.
took me from my daddy at age 3.
Yeah.
So, even though my dad was around, me never did care for my father give me away. I wanted my grandfather. Because even though I loved my father, and my father was always in my life, but granddad was the main stability in my childhood growing up. So even though I went to live with my father, and as I said, because my father unstable and up and down, me never sure. I could not guarantee people that if I had asked my dad to give me away, he would have show up. Honestly, so me make sure, say me ask the person who me sure was going to be there. Guys, we have to end here because we don't want to bore you and we don't want it to be too long where you can't get to see all of it, but we're going to come back and tell you what happened now after the crash wedding, how we had to recover, and all the bangarang that took. You think so the crashing of the wedding was bangarang? It was a backlash that was the bangarang, the things that were spoken. I never got well, and I lost friendships because of it. And persons withdrew from me. Persons see me and attack to me because I am disobedient. God said me not be married, and me still, because, but you see, when you have a relationship with God and God speaks to you, remember in my testimonies gone, you would have heard say God talked to me through his word. Me and God they don't know malice. And so I knew what the Lord had said to me, because he had his own tests and questions that he asked the Lord, if this is your will. I had mine as well. There were things that we were doing when we were planning, and we said, God, we're planning to get married. Lord, if this is your will, so and so. So just as how he asked God for sign, so me asked God saying, Lord, if this is your will, allow this to happen. If I know your will. I mean, I had a relationship when I broke up with him. I had a relationship. Somebody proposed to me and did all of my picture I circulate, say me married to them and all set date where me never did even know about. But I couldn't give this person an answer because there was something that I just was not at peace with about this character. And I remember, so we were just not a thing now go on. Now have no relationship. The man see me like me, want married to me, I not give no answer, and him not have text it for me. But I could not give him a definite because something was just right. And I remember my bother me, my perplex me. And one day I said to him, and I said, I can't answer you because me have to ask God and whatever. God not give me that. But I kept telling him God not give me no answer. God never give me no answer because I never asked God nothing. But I just telling him that God don't give me no answer. And then because he kept perplexing, one day I decided, one day, the same day he said, say nah, whatever. And I said, God not give me no answer. And he said, but God not take long for answer. That's all long God take for answer. So. And you know, when I was going home on the bus, I said, you know, I'm never really talk to God. And I remember I went home, and when I was going to my bed, I knelt at my bedside. And this was the exact prayer. I said, God, you see the situation between X and myself. Lord, if this is my husband, right now, God, we not have no relationship. Him just did this so and me did this so. Him want me if he married and me not answer. But God, if this is your will, allow the relationship to come into fusion and so we can get married. But God, if you will mash it up now. People, you hear what time we said dog never have 7 puppy. This was the night, and by the following day, I said to God, mash it up now. By the following morning, about 9-10 o'clock, the answer, everything just opened out. Yes.
And that is the reason why now she leave all the way, come to Spanish Town to search for me. So she came to that church even though she never knew the church that I attended. So she came to that church searching for me. That's why she come to Spanish Town.
I hear the matter that you know about me come to Spanish Town, come looking.
So where you did come for?
Come to the people them business, and then I come at church. Anyway, people, we're going to stop here. When we come back, we're going to tell you about the hotter claps. Hotter claps meaning, you know, how we had to pick up the pieces. And guess what? We did moving, you know, together, because yeah, planned for marriage. He moved in the Friday, and this was a Saturday. Our wedding crashed. We will tell you how a lot of people didn't know this. We will tell you how we lived together, sharing this space for 6 weeks, and by the grace of God, we're able to live, to remain pure until marriage. God goodie, God has been good. We'll tell you about that in the next video. Guys, remember, share this video, leave your comments, and me ask you something you need to tell me if it's fair. Answer the question or me ask and tell me one thing about him. And with him out of this about me come as Spanish Town and look for him. Subscribe to the channel if you have not yet done so. And guys, remember, if you are married or you're planning to get married, do not allow what is happening around us where you see the divorce rate going up and all of that. Your marriage can work if you are willing to work on your marriage. If you go into marriage with one thing in mind, that Christ in your vessel, and so because him in your vessel, you go smile at the storms. You will come out victorious.
God bless you, friend. Wow, good.
See you next time. Take care.